The black velvet couch cast shadows of Dominic's trucks against the bare white wall like the area behind the sofa suddenly transformed into Plato's cave. The sequestered area behind the couch shielded Dominic from the verbal argument brewing in the kitchen. The small boy with dark olive eyes and skin sat listening to the predicament without any comprehension of the subject. His blue overalls covered his red t-shirt and connected the top and bottom parts of his outfit in small brass buttons, which glistened and glimmered when the sun streamed through the window next to the sofa. The sounds emanating from the kitchen appeared to reflect off of the sofa like a magic mirror. Dominic heard a particularly loud portion of the screaming which penetrated his safe haven and caused him to cringe. He continued to play with his yellow Tonka dump truck given to him from Santa. Dad is sad. Why? Daddy got to stay here with us. I know Sweetie Pie, but he doesn't think that he should be here. The accident was real bad. Did someone go to heaven? A long, tangible pause filled the air, like when whipped cream fills an ice cream cone. Dominic noticed his mother's eyes and saw himself in them, like when he looks into the mirror to brush his teeth. Dominic, much later in his life, learned that his father, who drove an ambulance for the city of Boston, slammed into a red fire Pontiac while driving a patient to Massachusetts General Hospital. The driver in the sports car perished in the mangled metal wreckage. Yes, Angel, someone is with God now. His mother then took Dominic into Boston, an overwhelming city for such a small child, the day his father returned home. Jerry, his mother, wore a brown vest over her jade-green long-sleeve shirt as she wheeled Dominic's father into the purple van. Jim, a tall, fair-skinned gentleman who stood 6'3", looked vacant in the wheelchair. A frightened absence filled his eyes, and Dominic, even at such a young age, knew his father changed. They began the long trek back to Saugus, silence of midnight penetrating the air inside the small van. Dominic attempted to break the silence, which now seemed to pressure all sides of his body, similar to when he goes too far underwater in his pool. Daddy, why aren't you wearing a seatbelt? His father turned back, and Dominic never forgot the response he received. It stung him like a hornet in the middle of summertime. His robust and stoic father looked eyes with him and began to weep. Tears filled onto the purple velvet seat cushions and left small circles making the chair with wet polka dots. Dominic gasped at this reaction, and without warning started to cry as well, not because he felt sad or scared, but because it hurt the young boy greatly to witness his emotionally strong father, a man that never imbibed alcohol or tried any illegal substances. Jim's father succumbed to alcoholism and frequently physically abused his children, forcing Jim to drop out of high school and live in a small van at the age of 17. Dominic never knew of all this information at age 7, but he did indeed remember his father telling him, "My father used to hit me." All of the other facts concerning alcoholism held no importance to Dominic at this stage in his life, because the only thing that he paid attention to was the physical aspect of receiving a hit. Such a simple sentence shared with Dominic an immense amount of pain and anguish. Dominic now returned from his memory of his father's accident from 6 months ago, and noticed that the arguments coming from the kitchen ceased. He slowly stood up barefoot and raised his head above the horizon of the couch like a rabbit sticking his head out of a hole. He placed his hands on top of the wooden frame and slowly climbed over the obstacle that protected him from the discussions from the past 6 months. He suddenly heard his mother's cracked and hoarse voice calling him from the hallway adjacent to the kitchen, but he saw his father first coming towards him. "Dominic, you're going to stay with your mother for a while, okay? It's because of the discussions?" "Yeah, buddy, it is." "Where are we going to go?" "Your mother rented an apartment in a town called Reading, and guess what? It's all next to a fire station." Dominic's father placed his hands under the young boy's armpits and slowly and cautiously lifted him up over the couch. "What's an apartment?" "It's kind of like a house, but a little smaller, and instead of buying it, you get to give the boss a little money every now and then." "So you borrow it?" "Yeah, sort of." Dominic noticed his mother sticking her head from around the corner in the hallway, and suddenly a foreboding feeling filled Dominic that questioned and challenged the greatness of the apartment next to the firehouse. His mother just looked at him with a sense of emptiness, which conveyed a sense of hopelessness. Clouds plastered the gray skyline the next morning, which predicted a strong thunderstorm. Dominic opened the door to the royal purple minivan and put his seatbelt on, remembering the tragic scene with his father. Dominic at the time did not know that his father became trapped in the ambulance by the seatbelt because it melted into the fabric. Jim lay in the twisted wreckage of the vehicle that supposedly saved lives, with a broken nose and badly damaged knee, and remained there until rescue crews and, ironically, another ambulance arrived. Until the arrival of his mother into the van, the magnificent opera singer Andrea Bocelli greeted Dominic with his timeless classic, Time to Say Goodbye. The deep voice of the blind Italian opera singer resonated off of the metal walls and flowed into the eardrums of the innocent and listening young boy, soon to be forever influenced by the singer. When the lonely-looking mother and son arrived at the apartment, Dominic was greeted with a large staircase leading up to their quarters. The 3 flights of stairs left Jerry slightly out of breath, but Dominic continued excitedly towards the red door, expecting a large and sprawling area to explore with his trucks and matchbox cars, but instead was greeted by his small, claustrophobic kitchen. His bedroom seemed like a prison similar to the jail cells on his favorite TV show, Cops, which he frequently watched while his father was eating dinner, and his mom worked a late in the shift at Lawrence Memorial Hospital as a nurse. The first bath in the new apartment frightened Dominic into never taking a bath again in his entire life, confining him to the shower. As his mother, dressed in a purple bathrobe, turned the faucet, the water filled the tub with tainted flecks of dirt and grime from the previous owners who failed to properly wash the jacuzzi. After not taking a bath, Dominic wearily crawled into his bed and awaited the arrival of the next day. He slept.